Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I am fantastic.
Fantastic?
Fantastic.
Oh, has it been a taxing morning?
It's
taxing
a little early.
Day, taxing week. Well, right now it is February the 1st. How did that happen? We are cruising into a new month. This weekend is the big game, too. People are going to be watching that big game. And today I've got a guest talking about food to eat while you have friends over for the big game. Chef Pati Jinich going to be joining me on the program today with some fun ideas for that. Also, Heidi, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
According to the New York Times, if 2 billion of these are sold every year, were laid end to end at the equator, it would circle the Earth 4.5 times. What am I talking about? Think of something that you write with or color with.
Crayons?
Yeah, Crayola crayons. So just that brand alone. If they 2 billion that are created every year were laid end to end, they'd circle around the globe 4.5 times.
Interesting.
It's a lot of Crayolas. Coming up in a bit, we've got some more special things to talk about. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It is Wednesday, February the 1st. It's Candy Making Day. Ooh, I'm glad there's somebody making it because I'm a candy consumer. It's also Car Insurance Day,
Yeah.
Change Your Password Day, Decorating with Candy Day. That goes along with the Candy Making Day. G.I. Joe Day, Hula in the Kula Day.
Hula in the Kula.
Yeah, I don't know. International Face and Body Art Day, Freedom Day, National Signing Day, Robinson Crusoe Day, Serpent Day, Spunky Old Broads Day. You're going to be a spunky old broad someday.
Oh, yeah.
Right now you're a spunky young broad. National Girls and Women in Sports Day. So all of those things going on today. It's a busy day.
It is a busy day.
I don't know which one I'm going to celebrate. I would do the Hula and the Kula, but I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
I'm definitely going to celebrate the Candy Day.
Hula in the Kula.
And I should probably celebrate the Change Your Password Day because I use the same password for like everything.
I do too.
So I got to get better at changing. Mine's usually 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not really. I wanted to see if you'd say only a moron uses 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember that? Is that Blazing Saddles? Is that what that was from?
I don't know.
Something like that. Or maybe it was Spaceballs. I don't know. It was Mel Brooks. I remember that. I also know this. We got some great things on the way on a Wednesday edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Hey, it's John from the John and Heidi Show. Join me and my wife Heidi at 80s in the Sand, a week-long 80s event this November 11th through the 18th in beautiful Punta Cana. That's in the Dominican Republic. You'll get to meet and listen to 80s bands like Loverboy, Starship, Howard Jones, and many more. Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others. Get all of the details at 80sinthesand.com. Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person. That's 80sinthesand.com, promo code RADIO.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. What would you do if you came into work one day and found you were out of a job? Well, the workers at the Hometown Inn in Oshkosh, that's what they found out when they went to work. Employees showed up at a hotel to pick up their paychecks and were shocked to find out the place went bankrupt and the managers had cleaned out their offices without telling anybody. Instead of going home, though, the remaining 33 workers decided to band together and continue working without pay to make sure a wedding couple could celebrate their nuptials and a cancer benefit could go on as planned that weekend. That's really cool that they did that. Mm-hmm. Very cool they did that.
How'd they get in if the place had been...
They had keys to get in. They worked there. Fortunately for the wedding couple, the food for the banquet had been delivered earlier in the week. Once the wedding guests learned what had happened, they collected $150 to give to the employees. That's really nice that they did that. That's not a lot to go very far.
That's not a lot, yeah.
It's still,
really,
for 33 workers, what does that work out to?
Not much.
There's a $5. Thanks for hanging out. Now, that happened in Oshkosh. I think this is from like a year ago, because I remember this story.
Maybe they collected $150 per employee.
That'd be cool. I don't know what it was. All I know is I'm almost positive this is like from a year ago, because I think I remember reading this a while back. And I don't know, maybe this has happened more than once.
I think this is an old story.
You think so?
Yeah.
So it's happened at Hometown Inn and Suites in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And it's really cool that those people decided, hey, even though we're officially out of work, we're at least going to do what we can
Well, that's
to make
a big
sure.
day for those people. I
man.
mean, you can't just leave them hanging.
Yeah, sorry.
So-
The boss left and took
That's
the money,
insane.
so you guys can't have your wedding here now. That would just be terrible.
That
So
would be terrible.
I hope that each and every one of those people got even better jobs because they had such wonderful attitudes about what happened. That would be so nice. Moving on, we've got your Brain on Drugs coming up, your Moment of Duh, your Scoop of the Day, and much, much more. It's all on the way. And this one here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your Brain on Drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your Brain on Drugs. A drug scandal is rocking the world of sumo wrestling. Apparently, there's a lifetime ban now for a couple of Russians who were allegedly using marijuana. The head of the Japan Sumo Association had resigned over this. Wrestlers who are brothers tested positive for the drug when they conducted their first drug tests following arrests last month of another Russian wrestler for marijuana possession. The two who were kicked out insist they were clean. Sumo has its roots in religious rituals and tends to hold athletes and officials to high moral standards. Marijuana possession is considered a serious offense in Japan, and the scandal has been front-page news. So
Well, I
there
think
you go.
all sports have a thing against drugs, don't they?
Well,
I
you'd
mean,
think so. I don't know. Maybe not hacky sack. I'm not sure. Is that just kidding? I shouldn't even say that.
Wow.
There's probably some hacky sack fan out there right now kicking their ball around like, wait a minute.
Is hacky sack even still a thing?
I think it is.
I've never seen anybody doing that.
I don't even remember what movie it was. I was just watching a movie the other day where there were some people like smoking dope and kicking a hacky sack around. That's what made me think of that.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was even. Anyway, coming up, we have your Moment of Duh. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Now your Moment of Duh. In Long Island, New York, Vincent Ferry selected several items from a local Radio Shack, including a TV, an MP3 player, a desktop computer, a phone, and even a home theater system. After bringing his items to the register, he asked the clerk if he could load up his car while the final receipt was being written up.
Oh, no.
The clerk said, yeah, that's sure. That's okay. Vincent threw his loot in the car and drove off.
And drove away.
How'd he get caught? He returned to the same store a few days later trying to exchange some stolen goods for cash. He would have gotten away with it had he not done that. So,
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Not the brightest bulb on the old Christmas tree right there.
No.
Again, that happened in Long Island, New York. Vincent Ferry. So, steer clear of that fella.
Wow.
That's just not... I mean...
That's a whole new level of
it
stupidity
is.
right there.
Well, what were you thinking? Well, clearly you weren't. That's the problem. All right, coming up, we've got your Scoop of the Day. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your Scoop of the Day. According to a recent study, approximately 60 circus performers have been shot from cannons, and at last report, 31 have been killed on the job. So let's do those numbers again. 60 have done this. 31 have been killed on the job. Your odds are not
Those are
good.
not great odds.
No. 60 people, about half.
I think I
little
would
over half.
decline that particular job.
So what is it again you're hiring for? Well, we're looking for someone to shoot out of the cannon. The last 30 people have died.
For some reason, we just
Yeah, let's
have
not do that.
super high turnover for this particular job.
I just don't understand why anybody would want to do that. You know, they're having troubles with the circus.
Oh,
Maybe that's
my.
why. You keep killing all your people. Just saying. Hey, did you know that first-class meals on the Titanic consisted of 13 courses, each being accompanied with a different wine and could last up to 5 hours?
Oh my goodness, that sounds like heaven.
Well, there's a correlation there, but I'll just move on. Hey, this is kind of an interesting story here. It says here, from eating only grapefruits to ditching carbs, fad diets come and go with the seasons, but according to a U.S. study, quick fix meal plans don't work with the vast majority of dieters piling all their weight back on. So they're saying, you know, it comes off, but then boom, here it is
Yeah.
again. UK researchers, though, found that the secret to long-term slimming is not cutting out, but cutting back on sugary or fatty foods. University of Pennsylvania Center for Weight and Eating Disorders found that 65% of people who turn to a fad diet will regain the weight within 3 years. Only 5% will keep the weight off. Meanwhile, the UK-wide study by calorie counting app and website, NutriCheck, revealed that 86% of dieters who have lost enough weight to improve their health did so while continuing to eat chocolate, crisps, isn't that potato
French
chips?
fries.
Oh, no, I thought those were chips.
Oh,
Crisps,
yeah,
I think, are what we call
potato
chips. And other carbohydrates. Now, I've got a link to this entire story because there was a whole lot I just threw at you right there. If you'd like to read it, it's at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And for those of you that are still hanging in there on your diets from the beginning of the year, that's some good info to have right there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'm not doing terrible with mine.
We've both lost weight,
yeah,
which is good. But we both want
not
to lose
as fast as before. But it sounds like we don't want it to come off fast.
And that's the thing.
So
We've done some what they refer to as fad diets in the past, and absolutely what they said. We lost the weight, and then guess what happened?
It came back.
We found the weight again
with a vengeance.
and it brought some friends with too. So I'm really good at gaining weight. I mean, I could, if there's anybody out there trying to gain weight.
If you could write a book about gaining weight.
I could. Nobody'd buy it, but I could write it.
I could write that book.
There you go. Hey, we've got some more stuff we better share before we're done here. A new study says religion can actually be linked to an increase in your brain's gray matter. According to a report in Relevant magazine, the study found that people who are more religious were at a lower risk for depression than people who weren't, and researchers believe that may be because of a spiritual effect on your brain. Research team conducted brain scans on hundreds of patients, found those who described themselves as religious had a thicker outer cortex of gray matter, an indication of a healthier brain. So that's good news.
That's what I was just going to ask. Is that good?
That's good. Yeah, that's very good. They're saying that these are people who are not suffering from the ailments of people who don't have that going on. So.
Well, there you go.
And finally, this is something that Heidi was so excited about. NASA is now allowing you to view the Earth live from the International Space Station, and I've got a link to this on our Facebook page. You can go to a full screen, sit back, and enjoy our home planet as viewed from the International Space Station.
Did you just say this is something I was excited about?
Yeah, I was flipping through the channels the other day, and you said, hey, what's this, NASA channel? You can, watch the...
Okay, I was curious, and then when you turned it there, I was like, who wants to watch these dorks?
So you didn't want to watch it?
I did not want to watch it.
I thought you were excited.
I was like, what is this?
Well, I recorded.
No, I was curious.
I recorded hours of it for you, so no, it's always there. Why would I record it? You don't need to. But if you would like to see it, even though Heidi just referred to them as a bunch of dorks, you can check it out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We have Chef Pati Jinich joining us right now, a celebrity chef, giving us some ideas on how we can entertain our friends for the big game this weekend. Patty, how you doing?
I am good, John. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, we're excited to have you on the program. So let's talk a little bit about this weekend. You know, we got this big game on Sunday. A lot of people are going to be watching it, and there's a lot of things you can do for appetizers. You could be, simple and easy and just buy a bag of something and open it. But that's no fun, is it?
That's no fun. People are hungry for more.
So what are some fun ideas on things people can do that are going to be fairly easy to do and nutritious and delicious as well?
Well, John, my favorite thing to do for the big game is to take those traditional big game recipes and upgrade them and make them more nutritious and more delicious. And my favorite way to do that is by incorporating avocados from Mexico, and they're so fresh and delicious that it's very easy. So one of the ways that I love to do that is everybody's expecting a good guacamole recipe, and there's so many unique recipes. So to give you an example, you have that guacamole base, so you have the right mashed avocado, and then with the caveman guac, I call it the caveman guacamole, which is my favorite at home to serve to my boys. It has bites of spice of chorizo and tangy bites of queso fresco, which is tangy and salty, and it's just very filling. Another example is a botanero guacamole. I call it a botanero because botana in Spanish translates to English as snacking. And this guacamole has pineapple and jicama and cucumber and dried chilies on top. So, it's all creative ways of making those guacamoles that everybody's expecting, but something out of the ordinary. And there's other nutritious options like having avocado toast for people to just grab, and there's skewers that you can make and your kids can help you make with tomato and mozzarella. So there's lots of options.
Very nice. Again, visiting right now with celebrity chef Pati Jinich, and she's got some really fun ideas for the big game this weekend. Let's talk a little bit about your program. I see that you are, this is really kind of cool, the Emmy and James Beard Award nominated PBS series, Patty's Mexican Table. How long has this been going on now, Patti?
Oh my gosh, John, it's been maybe 7 years. We are now in pre-production for season 6. I love doing it. On every season, we go to a different region in Mexico. So, for example, last season, we went to the Yucatan Peninsula, and for next season, we're hoping to go to Oaxaca, which is a fascinating place with incredible food.
Fantastic. Well, that's on PBS, but people probably maybe have seen you on some of the other programs that you're on regularly, like on the Today Show and ABC's The Chew and The Talk and All Things Considered. So they see you all over the place, and now here you are giving them some fun ideas for their big game party this weekend.
Thank you, John. Yeah, and thank you for mentioning my show. I really pour my heart into it.
Well, you can tell, and you do a darn good job. Now, avocados, I that's something that's funny. My wife and I were just talking about this. We have never, ever purchased an avocado. We saw one at the grocery store the other day, and we were looking at that. I was like, how do you do anything with that? So you've got some fun ideas. If people would like to get some fun ideas, do you have a place online where they can go to maybe print off or get some recipes?
Yes, absolutely. And we have to fix that, John. You have to bring avocados into your kitchen. They're like the heart of my kitchen. So my first recommendation is avocadosfrommexico.com. It has countless recipes and tips. It will tell you how to choose an avocado, how to store it, so many ideas about how to use it. All the recipes that we're talking today, you will find in there. Another idea of how you can find out more about avocados is this Friday at 7 p.m. at Twitter party or Twitter chat. It will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And another thing that you can do, which I think is going to be really fun, is keep an eye out for the new ad of Avocados from Mexico, which can be seen during the first commercial break of the big game.
Oh, really?
You have to go to the grocery store, John, and grab some of those avocados and bring them home.
There you go. We'll have to try them. Like I said, now that I know what we can do with them, I wouldn't be so afraid to buy one. Before we were looking at them like, what would you do with that? I'm like, I have no idea. So thank you for thank you very much for the fun ideas, and we'll have to give it a shot.
Thank you so much, John. You let me know how you like them when you try them.
Very good. Thank you again, Chef Pati. You have a great day.
You too.
Again, Chef Pati Jinich right there. And like I said, she's from PBS. You've probably seen that if you ever get a chance to watch. She's got a great program there, Patty's Mexican Table. Oh, I just looked at her. Now in its 5th season. So that's how long she's been doing that. Got cookbooks out there, a lot of fun stuff. And she gave us some fun ideas for the big game for this weekend. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? No one knows your loved ones better than you do, and no one knows senior living better than A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their loved ones. The Senior Living Advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. Call 1-800-471-5173. That's 1-800-471-5173.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The shark is the only fish that can blink with both eyes. I wonder if that means at the same time? Or just, what are you
Let's
winking?
call winking.
No, blink with both eyes. That's just called blinking.
We do blink with both eyes.
Okay, a shark is the only fish that can blink with both eyes. What are you doing? You're in the middle of some text or something.
Well, you said...
Shark.
I thought you said the only... I'm sitting here thinking, I can blink with both eyes.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The first president of the United States, George Washington, wore dentures. We knew that.
We knew that. Wooden ones.
Yeah, and some were made of like animal teeth, which is kind of weird. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Adult humans have 206 bones in their body.
Oh.
It's a lot of bones. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In autumn, plants produce less chlorophyll, and that is why leaves turn colors.
Oh.
Because they get less chlorophyll to, keep them green. Couple of fun facts for you right there on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. You need to get as much sleep as you can possibly get. You don't want to lose out on sleep, and I have some tips from Glamour Magazine to help you get the sleep that you need. First of all, what's keeping you up? It says eating a large dinner before bed is keeping you up. It diverts blood flow from your brain to your stomach, making sleeping a lot less restorative. So they're saying don't pig down on a lot of stuff right before bed.
Well, yeah.
Next, drifting off with the television on.
Yeah.
I like to do that.
You do that all the time.
I don't mean to, but I'll sit down and watch TV and
Yeah.
I'm out. Next, alcohol. Even one drink will help you stay awake, and it'll hurt your chance of falling asleep. Unless you have enough, then you pass out. Sharing a bed with a snorer. Get that person to a doctor. Research shows that you stand to sleep 62 more minutes a night if you don't have a snoring person next to you. It's on logs. And the last one on the thing is of what keep you awake. Letting your pet sleep with you. Oh, we've had that issue.
We've had that.
We've got 2 dogs, and they usually are pretty good.
Yeah, usually
every once in a
it doesn't
while
bother
they're
me
just
at
like
all, but-
restless.
Yeah.
They're up and moving around, and
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Now, what helps you sleep? How about this? Going to bed and getting up at the same time every day. What did I just recently do, Heidi?
You set an alarm on your phone so you would
Yeah.
go to bed at the same time every night, which you have
Ignored every
promptly
single night.
ignored every night
I have
and
it
gone
set
to
up-
bed at about midnight
I have it
instead.
set up where it says, go to bed. And I turn my alarm off and go back to whatever I was doing. Sleep in a cool, dark room. That's another thing
Yes,
you should do.
it should be cold.
If you're trying to get sleep, you're supposed to take time to relax before you go to bed. So don't do something really physical and then go, okay, now I'm going to jump in bed and go to sleep. Earplugs or white noise machines could drown out background noise if that's one of the things that's keeping you awake. And last, exercise. Brisk walks help you sleep 70% better. So they're saying not right
go for
before
a
you go to
walk.
bed, but go for a walk during the day sometime, and then you'll actually be tired at night. So a couple of tips right there from our friends at Glamour. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Only 2 in 10 Americans say they're ready for the unthinkable. Are you ready for a natural disaster? What would happen if you were not able to go out to get food for your family during extreme weather? How long would you be okay without power and without access to get more food? Wise Company has the ultimate emergency preparedness pack with enough emergency food kits for a week, or upgrade to be prepared for a month or longer. Call toll-free 888-552-3759. It pays to be prepared. Learn more at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Do you have a messy desk?
No.
Do
No.
I?
Only I do when you sit at it.
I do. Actually, my desk is connected to her desk, and it piles over to her
It
stuff
does.
quite often. Well, 85-year-old Philadelphia timber yard owner says he has not seen the surface of his desk in 43 years. The 2 desks at Ray Korskin's company, Rittenhouse Lumber, have 80 cubic feet of paper on them. He says men bring their wives to his shop, not to buy things, but to show that this guy is messier than I am, so leave me alone. Several years ago, the local newspaper said the desks were the messiest desks in the country, and they have become messier since then. Ray Koskin says He would like to clean them up, but the customers keep interfering. So
it's the customer's fault that he's a slob.
No, I think that like when he starts tightening them up, they're no, don't do that. That's like the main reason we come here. Like it's a shrine to messy desks
that's
everywhere.
Ridiculous.
So 43 years of stuff on that desk. I worked at a radio station once where we cleaned out the studio and found newspapers that were 30 years old in the studio, like stuck between records and stuff.
That's ridiculous.
So, coming up in a bit, we've got more fun things to chat about, like what would Godzilla taste like? That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
If you've ever watched Godzilla and thought, I wonder what that dude would taste like. I mean,
I can honestly say I never have thought that.
For those of you who have, good luck, because Godzilla meat is on the market now in Tokyo. A toy maker, Takara Company in Tokyo, they said they're packaging a thing called Godzilla meat. Now, it's not really Godzilla meat.
Of course not, because there's no such thing.
No, it's actually corned beef, but they're calling it that. According to one of the inventors, people can eat Godzilla and become energetic and powerful. It's like Popeye with spinach. Yeah. Also in the works, Godzilla eggs. And it's really just 15 quail eggs. And Rodan meat, which is canned barbecued chicken. All of these things are going to be available from the same corned beef people for the Godzilla meat market. I'm not exactly sure that that's a good plan. Do you think they're going to get sued? Or did they not sue for dumb things like that in Japan?
In Japan, they probably don't.
And maybe it says on there somewhere that it's not really Godzilla meat, but if they're saying it's going to make you stronger,
just the word Godzilla would be trademarked by somebody.
And the fact that they're saying people can eat, this is a direct quote, people can eat Godzilla meat and become energetic and powerful. It's like Popeye and his spinach. That's from one of the people.
Yeah, they probably don't have the same rules in Japan that we have.
Any attorneys that are thinking, hey, I might go to Japan and help those people out. Coming up, this is the headline, melodic cranial impaction. Melodic, whatever that is.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. We're going to find out in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Do you shop online? Do you like to save money? Save money with Honey. Let me explain. Honey is a really smart tool that's free to use. I'm not really an online shopper. I get as many things locally as possible, but there are some things you can only buy online. So when I heard about Honey, I thought, what the heck? It's free. I'll give it a shot. The very first time I used it was for a domain name. It's usually $12.99. Honey searched the internet and found me a discount code, so I bought it from the same exact website for just 99 cents. So I saved $12. It's absolutely free, so what do you have to lose? Check it out at SaveMoneyWithHoney.com. Interesting title here. Melodic cranial impaction. What does that sound like to you? Does that sound like
it sounds like a song getting stuck in your head.
Oh, well, let's see. Although it seems maddeningly impossible, new research suggests we can get rid of those nagging tunes that are endlessly playing over and over in our head. Heidi guessed right. Which one is it for you? The trick is this. We can banish what others refer to as earworms from our brains by engaging in an absorbing task, something that is not too easy, but not too difficult either. Known as earworms, these little songs that won't let go, they get stuck in your head. They are common types of intrusive thoughts, according to Ira Hyman, professor of psychology at Western Washington University in Bellingham. It says here, they're not exactly sure yet what the cognitive mechanism causes these certain songs to stick in our head, but they found once it's in there, it seems to stay there a while. It says, after a while, it feels like it's gone from the conscious awareness, but suddenly, boom, there it is again. It's almost waiting in the wings of consciousness for the stage in your mind to empty. Earworms are more likely to wriggle in when people are bored or engaged in activities that are either somewhat mindless or very complicated. It says if you're doing something that's really automatic, like walking or riding a bike, there's a lot more room for a song to play in your head. It'll probably come back, according to this guy. You know somebody who utilized that to become super duper fabulously famous and wealthy?
No.
Guy by the name of Theodore Geisel, also known
no
as
clue who that is.
Dr. Seuss. I read the story. Have you ever noticed that there's like this interesting little rhythm to his books?
Yeah.
That rhythm is the rhythm of a boat that he was on while he was serving in the military. And it was the motor of the boat. It was going to. It was like making this weird. And he was putting words to that because he kept hearing it over and over and over. And even when he wasn't on the boat, he would hear it over and over and over. He was putting words to it. And he utilized these little earworm, this thing that got stuck in his head, which wasn't even really a song. It was the sounds of a motor. But he utilized that to make this little cadence for his books.
Interesting.
So Anyway, melodic cranial impaction. And Heidi guessed what it was. I'm so proud of you. Coming up in a bit, we've got some... I am. I mean, you're mighty sexy right now over there. My wife is smart. She's good looking and smart. We've got some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. And if I have the time to get to it, I've got two different stories that are both good news, and I'm going to try to squeeze them both in.
All right, let's do it.
Let's start with this one. Bob Rutherford may not be a knitting machine, but he did build a knitting machine. Take a listen to this. He built a knitting machine and made more than 10,000 socks for shelters across Canada.
Aww.
Using a homemade knitting machine.
That's nice.
So he made this little machine to knit socks. That's a cool idea. Has anyone ever built a knitting machine?
This gentleman in
But
Canada.
I mean before this. Before this, have you ever heard of a knitting machine before?
I don't know.
Because I've always
sewing machine.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe there are knitting machines out there, but this guy built one, and you can read the entire story on our Facebook page. And we do have time to get to the second story. Single father Philip Morges started a very interesting workshop for other single dads. He's teaching other fathers how to braid their daughter's hair.
I've seen this online. This is so cute.
There's a heartwarming video about Phil and about what he's doing, and I've got that on our Facebook page too. So a couple things that were shared with me, and I didn't want to pick favorites, so good news is we had time to get them both. And they're both on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. You know what tomorrow is?
What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Thursday, another Dear John letter. So
Yeah.
last chance, if you want to get a Dear John letter in for this week, you can send that through that same Facebook page. And we've got some good ones that are coming in, and we try to make sure we respond to everybody no matter what. But if we respond to you off the air, you know, there's some that we're not going to put on the air, but we're going to respond to everybody no matter what. And then, like I said, if we use it on the air, it will be anonymous as well. So you don't have to worry about, you know, writing us a letter about your terrible boss and having
what's
your
that website
terrible
again?
boss find out. Yeah, same page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And then just send us a message through there, like a little Facebook message to that page. So really simple, really easy. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great Wednesday. We appreciate you listening to the John and Heidi Show.